Good afternoon. My name is Johan Oomen. I work for the Netherlands Institute for Sound and Vision and also for the VU University in Amsterdam. This is the list of names of speakers in my session. I think it's an excellent lineup of speakers, and I'm really pleased that these speakers have agreed to come over to Vienna to talk about the exciting work that they're doing. So the framework of talking about community engagement is actually mentioned in this book, and I really recommend you reading it. It's from Clay Shirky, Cognitive Surplus. And here he talks about how the way that we spend our free time is changing. And so he writes, the wiring of humanity lets us treat free time as a shared global resource. Designing new kinds of participation and sharing that can take advantage of this resource is becoming increasingly important. And just one of the first things he mentioned in his book is that the size of watching television in the US compared to the number of hours it takes to create Wikipedia as it stands today. So this is sort of infographic of this statement he made early in his book, where on the left-hand side you see that there are 200 billion hours of people watching TV, and to create Wikipedia is only 100 million hours. So there's an incredibly large amount of free time that we can ask and invite people to share with and do engaging things with us. Also in the heritage domain. So in our discussion tomorrow, we will go into think about some of the challenges. There's a long list of challenges in setting up these crowdsourcing and in community engagement projects, but we would like to focus on two main challenges. One is quality and completeness, and the other one is how to motivate end users. So within our work at the VU University, we did an analysis of crowdsourcing activities in the GLAM domain. GLAM stands for Galleries, Libraries, Archives, Museum, and we came up with this typology. And obviously, we are open to discuss, if this typology works, yes or no. But actually, we will use this also tomorrow to frame the different activities that are in the session, so the different projects. And I would just like to spend a couple of minutes to go through each of the types of crowdsourcing, using the examples of our panelists tomorrow. So the first type of crowdsourcing is what we call tagging and classification. Probably you are all aware of the Flickr Commons project. So this, and also the Google ESP game, environments where people help out labeling, say, all kinds of heritage objects. So we have from the VU University Michiel Hildebrand, who is going to talk about the video labeling game called Waar is daar? And here we are, it uses the game interface, quite similar to the ESP game, in order to annotate video data. So the idea is that two people or two or more people join this game, start typing away what they see or hear, and if they reach agreement within 10 seconds, they get awarded points. And in an earlier version, we actually managed to get 500,000 of these tags in a couple of months. So another example of tagging and classification is the Universal Media Annotator from the Austrian Institute of Technology. If I'm correct, this is one of the outcomes of the Europeana Connect project. Looking at all kinds of media and how that can be labeled. This is an example of maps. So the second type of crowdsourcing we call correction and transcription. This is getting increasingly popular, and notably in the archive domain. And tomorrow we will, so one of the projects that we will discuss is Old Weather. It's a collaboration between the Citizen Science Alliance and University of Oxford, also with the National Maritime Museum. And the challenge here is to transcribe the naval ship logs. During the First World War, these naval ships traveled the world and kept record of their location and also things like the temperature. And so in Old Weather, users of the general public is invited to transcribe these naval ship logs. And it was launched, I think, a year ago, also around October last year. And in the meantime, over 700,000 pages have been transcribed in this way. So the next type is we call contextualization. So inviting the public to add a layer of richness to the collection. We have a representative from Wikimedia UK who's going to talk about their expertise in doing so-called GLAM wiki activities. So collaboration between galleries, libraries, archives, and Wikipedians. For instance, editing pages from libraries, but also museums. And I reckon they're also going to talk briefly about the Wiki Loves Monuments campaign that ended last month and managed to gather 160,000 pictures of monuments across Europe. So second type of contextualization we have in our session is linked to writing stories. And this project, Plätzer, if I'm stated correctly, from the Swedish Heritage Board, created an environment where people can write stories about so the heritage that is near where they live, for instance. And obviously, we were obliged to also include our friends from Oxford University doing the excellent project Great War Archive together with Europeana that managed to photograph thousands of objects collected in campaigns throughout Germany over the past months. And this is a project from Huis van Alein. It's about inviting people to send in their photographs. And so the campaign that they've done is Proud of My Car. So people, you know, it's very funky pictures were submitted, over 700 of them, by the general public, and these were photographed and added to the Huis van Alein website. And people started then tagging and discussing the pictures. So in our typology, we have two more classes. One is co-curation, and one is crowdfunding. We don't have any speakers of those classes in our talk tomorrow, but I want to mention them nevertheless. So if you look at the way that, say, digitization projects are managed, which steps are involved, one way of looking at it is using a model like the digital content lifecycle that goes from creating, describing, managing, discovering, and using and reusing. And if you map the types of crowdsourcing to this digital content lifecycle, actually this picture emerges. And so to me, this really shows the impact that crowdsourcing can have on the various activities that we are conducting. So, you know, we can invite the public to help out describing. We can invite them to contextualize our collection, also to co-create, etc., etc. So, for me, this picture sort of shows the potential impact. And tomorrow we will, as I said, look at two main challenges. We look at motivational factors. So how can you build a community that is going to engage with these crowdsourcing activities, and also how to maintain a level of quality. So if you are designing an environment for tagging, so what is the best design? How can you make sure that the quality you end up with is as good as can be? So with this, I conclude.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much.